Hey, it's Ellie, and today I've got another special interview for Jewish Music Week. We're doing this one fast and loose today because my guest today, Daniel Kahn, is in where? Berlin?
In Berlin.
In,
From
and he's going to be performing with his band, Daniel Kahn and the Painted Bird, on Thursday, May 30th, as part of Jewish Music Week at Lula Lounge. Daniel, thank you for coming on the show from Berlin.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I don't know much about you. Like I said, we're doing this fast and loose today. You're
Fast.
on a tight schedule, just as it seems everybody who's preparing for Jewish Music Week is.
We'll keep it
Uh,
brief.
yeah. So first of all, tell me, you're heading out of Berlin today. Is that to come here to North America?
No, in 2 days, my wife Yeva and I will fly to New York, and then we meet up with the band there, and we're gonna go on the road we're playing in New York on Saturday, then DC, Baltimore, Philly, Ithaca, and then we make it to Toronto.
Holy moly, that's
Yeah.
that's one hell of a road trip. All right. So tell me first about yourself and then about the band itself, Daniel Kahn and the Painted Bird.
Well, um, yeah, about myself, I was born in Detroit. I lived there. I studied theater and writing, and then I lived in New Orleans for a while, and in New York, and then I moved around a lot as a singer-songwriter. And in 2005, I moved to Berlin, so I've been here for 14 years. And not long after that, I started this band, The Painted Bird, named after this nightmarish novel by Jerzy Kosinski. And we play a kind of dark uh, concoction of Yiddish folk music and like sort of punk cabaret and old folk ballads and new songs and old songs and translations and multilingual stuff and a lot of politics. Um, and the band has had a lot of different people in it, but I'll be coming to Toronto with like some really close, wonderful colleagues and friends. Um, I'll be there with Christian David, who is a wonderful German musician, plays a lot of klezmer music. He plays clarinet and saxophone and trombone. And we'll be with Jake Schulman-Ment, who's an amazing klezmer violinist from New York. And our drummer is Hampus Malin. He's a Swedish klezmer and jazz drummer who lives here in Berlin. And we'll also have uh, a visual presentation of like translations and images and video and animations, and all of that is designed by and run by Yeva Lapsker. So it'll be a huge multilingual, multimedia, um, multi-emotional, uh, yeah,
So
danceable. Uh,
danceable,
dan-
emotional, political, all of it.
I really like the Lula Lounge. I was there with another group called the Brothers Nazarov some years ago, and I really enjoyed playing there. And I hope there's the really good Portuguese bakery that was across the street. I hope that's still there. Brazilian bakery.
The lounge, they've been working with Jewish Music Week for quite some time, and I've had the chance to see shows as part of Jewish Music Week before, and also just go to see other performers there. And yeah, it's got a great vibe to it. That place is hopping. I'll say it's hopping.
I love Toronto. You know, I grew up in Michigan, so I was kind of like I had like major sort of Ontario envy. I always wanted to be Canadian, and grew up going to Toronto a lot, and I'm really looking forward to being there. Um, it'll be the first time I'm there with this group of musicians. I was there just a few years ago at the Ashkenaz Festival, which is like such an amazing, soul exploding place. I love it.
And your show is actually being done in partnership with Ashkenaz as
Yeah,
a yeah. So there you
totally.
go.
They're like they're a juggernaut of cultural support and continuity, um, and so it's it's Toronto is one of the most diverse places on the planet, and it's it's a strength of that city that so many peoples and so many cultures are part of this big conversation. So yeah, we're really looking forward to being there.
So let's talk, because you mentioned it and I ended up repeating it as well, about the political thing. I happened to get a chance to read the piece "Fighting Fascism" with Klezmer in this past week's CJN. Now, I don't know if you knew about that or not. I have a feeling that
Rosenberg's
you.
piece.
Yeah, Dan Rosenberg's piece, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
what Dan was writing there with something like, for instance, "Embrace the Fascists." That's an interesting one. Can you tell me a little more about that particular song?
the song was written in 1931. It was a poem by Kurt Tucholsky, and it was set to music by Hans Eisler. It was a German. There were two German left-wing, and I guess Jewish artists who both had to go into exile when the Nazis came to power. Eisler came to the United States, where he was eventually put in front of the House Un-American Activities Committee. And Tucholsky, unfortunately, committed suicide in exile in 1935. I first started singing that song probably about 12 years ago, something like that. We recorded it on an album that came out in 2009 called Partisans and Parasites. And I did a translation of it into English. And at the time, I guess hang on just a moment. I think I thought I was being clever to like make the point of like singing an anti-fascist song from the 30s in 2008.
Right.
Certainly there was nothing new. There's nothing new
at the time.
I mean, now it's not making a point. It's reiterating something. It's just getting certain energies out. I mean, only the deeply ignorant or willfully ignorant would deny that this song has deep relevance today. What fascism represents in its bestial cruelty, its corrosive authoritarianism, its reliance on poisonous myths of supremacy and racism, and also in its structures of its economic political structures. That Mussolini, the architect of fascism, once called fascism corporatism, where the interests of corporate entities and the corporate economy are fused with the power of the state. And also just the kind of, the last line says, "Küss die Faschisten, wo ihr sie trefft." Kiss the fascists where you meet them. And in my English, I say, embrace the fascists that we have made, that our tolerance may have gotten us in this situation. Kiss the fascists where we meet them.
Heck of a line.
I translated it as embrace the fascists.
Right.
But
I think the line really still sticks.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the show itself. What you're going to be performing. Obviously, we don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But what are you excited to share with the audience in Toronto?
I'm really excited to share our last record, which is called The Butcher's Share, and it's got a lot of really timely songs that we didn't realize how timely they were when we wrote them. We have a song called "Freedom is a Verb," which I wrote, and we have a great Yiddish anthem against gentrification, which was written by the great Joshua Letsky, who is a wonderful contemporary Yiddish songwriter who lives in Brooklyn. It's called 99, 99. And we sing that in Yiddish and in English. I'm excited to be sharing some of my translations and some of my, Yiddish versions of English songs and English versions of Yiddish songs and whatnot. I'm excited so that people can see some of the projected like artwork that we have and the translations. It's an important part of our show, and just looking forward to sharing that.
So, because you mentioned how much you're going to be bouncing around before you get here to Toronto, what opportunity are you going to have, if any, to see other shows as part of Jewish Music Week?
I don't know if I'll have a chance to see other shows, because we're really just there that one day, and we, I don't know if there's something going on earlier in that day. The next day, I'm giving a presentation at a school, and then we unfortunately have to fly to Minneapolis. I really wish we would have more time there. Being on tour is a little bit, it's like being at warp speed or something. You're not really seeing the places that you're in. You're in a kind of wormhole life.
It sounds like it. You're actually going to be coming back for Klezmer Canada, right?
Yeah.
So that when's that happening?
That's in late August. So I'm really looking forward to being there. It's going to be an amazing program this year, and I'll be teaching with my buddy Psoy Korolenko of Yiddish Glory, and we'll be doing a songwriting workshop together. And Klezmer Canada really changed my life. That was where I really discovered the contemporary Yiddish culture movement, and so I haven't been there in a couple of years, so it'll be nice to be coming home.
All right. Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time with me. Hey, look at this.
Wasn't that amazing? Follow the link in the description below to get your tickets to Jewish Music Week 2019. And if you enjoyed that, you'll want to check out these other acts from the festival and take a look at some of the other links here on the screen and in the description. Remember to hit that like button and to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Then share this video with your family and friends so that they can join you at Jewish Music Week. See you at the festival!